Hi guys, welcome back to Irish Footy Vlogs, and this is your preview to the FAI Cup final of 2025, where Cork City, who finished bottom of the Premier Division, take on Shamrock Rovers, who finished at the very top of the Premier Division. Intriguing final for some, maybe. Some might think all Shamrock Rovers have to do is turn up and win this game. Now, from a competitive standpoint, I hope that doesn't happen. I'm sure Shamrock Rovers fans would be delighted if that happened. I'm recording this before Shamrock Rovers actually travelled to Athens to play AEK, and that's a big part of this, in my opinion, as well. That particular game, in line with Sunday's Cup final. You know, a spade, you would say Shamrock Rovers should win this and win it comfortably, to be honest with you. But if you're a Cork City fan, and the hope for a competitive standpoint is that that's a little bit of an equaliser, because it's a big game for Shamrock Rovers to go to Athens on Thursday and hopefully get a result. Certainly do better than what Aberdeen did. And when you go away in Europe, it's always difficult coming back and playing a few days later. I know Rovers are kind of used to it, but it is difficult, and a lot of the time you're rotating. But this is an FAI Cup final. Stephen Bradley has never won the double. He's done everything else, really. I think he's peaked with Shamrock Rovers, in my opinion, in Europe. Last year they were brilliant. He's won 5 of the last 6 league titles. He's won the FAI Cup. That was the first trophy he won as manager of Shamrock Rovers. To do the double would nearly complete... I think it completes his ambitions, to be honest, to Shamrock Rovers. I don't think there's much else he can do. So he'll be hungry to do that. So he has to try and get the balance right here. It's a very difficult game in Athens. And I mentioned that result of 6-0 against Aberdeen. Rovers are going to have to be on it here to be competitive in this game as well. Let's be honest. So you've got that too. Cork City, I think, have to look at this and obviously look at it like they've nothing to lose, but try and test Rovers early doors. If they sit back and see what Rovers are trying to do, I think it's the worst thing they can do. You know, test Rovers. Are they fatigued? Mentally fatigued as well. It's been a long season. They've just won the league. Coming back from Greece. And it can be a mental thing as much as a physical thing, to be honest with you. Sometimes more so. Whereas Cork had the whole week to prepare for this game, essentially. Well, you could argue there's the last few weeks to prepare for the game, but they've literally no game in front of them all week. And from Cork City's point of view, I think they need to go at Rovers early doors and press them and test what they're like mentally, test what they're like physically. I think it'd be a big mistake if they didn't. If they lose the game, they lose the game. But it'd be a huge mistake if they didn't. They have players that can hurt you. I mean, they beat St. Patrick's like 3-0 in the semi-final. Evan McLaughlin has been excellent for them this season. Really, really good, Evan McLaughlin this season. Maguire, he's played Diviva before. Big game player, played really well in that semi-final against St. Patrick's Athletic as well. So they've got players that can cause issue. Alex Nolan has done well in the last few weeks as well. So there are players that can hurt you if Rovers are off it slightly. If Rovers are on it, it could be a difficult afternoon for Cork City, to be honest with you. And I hope that doesn't happen, because the last game, FAI Cup final, was a bit like that, was the Derry City, Shelbourne one, where Derry City won 4-0, but they were 2-0 up at half time, they were cruising, you felt the game was over. It just leaves it a bit damp. I enjoy the cup final, I love going to the cup final, I've always vlogged the cup final. It's a great day out, regardless of who's playing in that final. And I was there when Shamrock Rovers, Bradley won his first trophy for the club against Dundalk, in that penalty shootout as well. And they obviously haven't been there since to the cup final. So it's a real carrot, I think, for Shamrock Rovers and Bradley. And there will be rotations, but they've had a couple of players struggling with injury and niggles and stuff. And you feel the likes of Josh Honahan will play on Thursday. But then will he be okay to play on Sunday? And he's a key player in their system, in their wing-back system. You know? But you still have to fancy them. I think it'd be closer than a lot of people think, though. But I think it'd be a big mistake for Cork if they don't try and test them and go at them earlier doors and try and play with that intensity if they can. If they get caught, they get caught. If they get beaten, they get beaten. But it'd be a mistake just to let Rovers have the ball, maybe ease into the game from a mental and a physical standpoint from Shamrock Rovers' point of view. It'd be very interesting to see what Rovers do up front, though, whether they go with Gaffney or Noonan. It's a big pitch. Noonan can get in behind. Of course, Gaffney can as well, but Noonan has caused a lot of problems to Cork City actually before as well. It depends who plays Thursday. Whoever plays against Athens won't play on Sunday. It's as simple as that. But it'll be interesting to see where Stephen Bradley is thinking in that regard. Same to the likes of Graham Burke and that as well. You could have a situation where Burke is on the bench on Sunday, you know. A lot of people say he shouldn't be playing because he probably should have been sent off against Kerry, and that's a fair point as well, isn't it, to be honest. But yeah, both teams have big wins in the semi-finals, didn't they? Rovers came through the Kerry game easily, to be honest, in Tallaght Stadium as well. I do wonder if Bradley does go on and do the double. Obviously, there's European games. After the European games, will he call it a day, Shamrock Rovers? For me, he would have achieved everything at the club. Everything at the club. Apart from that little thing of not getting the 5 in a row. I don't think he's going to stay to try and get another five in a row, you know. So he would have achieved everything at the club. He's still a young manager. His son is very well, thank God. Would now be the time for Stephen to... What would he have to gain to go again, maybe with Shamrock Rovers in the next season, especially if they win the Cup, as I said? That's one for Shamrock Rovers fans to answer. As for Cork City, look, it's likely they're going to be in the first division. There's still a bit of controversy surrounding Dundalk and what's going to happen there, but my hunch is they probably will get a Premier Division licence, so they're going to be in the first division next season. They're going to lose some players after this, so I've no doubt about that. Likely they're going to be too strong in the first division and win the first division. But wouldn't it be crazy if Cork City, with all the controversies and issues at the club in the last couple of years, well, last year in particular there, protests, etc., if they went on to win the Cup, having finished bottom of the league. And that's what the Cup does. You don't have to necessarily be the best team to win the Cup. As I mentioned before, Shamrock Rovers didn't get to this their first final since they won it 6 years ago. And Drogheda won it last year and finished 9th in the league, so it would be crazy if Cork City won the Cup. The other caveat there is that, that club up there, just there, get them there. That club there, Bohemians, have to hope Shamrock Rovers. It's amazing, isn't it? They're arch rivals. Shamrock Rovers win the Cup, so they get into Europe. Could you imagine in that facet if Cork City won the Cup? I mean, you'd probably see Bowls fans saying Rovers through the Cup, to be honest, which isn't going to happen, by the way. But genuinely, I think the European game does count for something and gives a glimmer of hope for Cork City. But that said, I do fancy Shamrock Rovers. I think it'll be a competitive game. Cork need to come out of the traps quickly, in my view, as I said before. I'm going to go for Shamrock Rovers to lift the Cup and do the double and win by 2-1. Let me know what you think in the comments. Are you going to the Cup final? Particularly if you're not a Shamrock Rovers or Cork City fan, are you going to the Cup final? Give us a prediction. Thanks for watching. See you later.